Good morning, Southwest Florida. I'm Bri Walling. This Naples Herald Morning Report is sponsored by our friends at Fusillo Kia of Cape Coral. This morning we'll tell you about a recently married ficus in Fort Myers set to get a trim, Spielberg's Ready Player One making a strong debut at the box office, and more. Today is Tuesday, April 3rd, and this is the Morning Report. A newlywed ficus tree that was once slated for destruction will now receive a $6,000 trim instead after a vote from the Fort Myers City Council on Monday. The fate of the tree came into question after Jeff Romer, a potential buyer of the property adjacent to where the massive ficus sits, asked the city what his responsibilities regarding the portion of the branches and roots that extend onto the property would be. The city's beautification board discussed cutting the tree down at a cost of $13,000 in February, which caused a flurry of local conservation efforts. The ficus is the centerpiece of the small park, which sits along the riverbank a few blocks from the McGregor Boulevard. Local petitions were created and received hundreds of signatures, but the highlight of the community effort to save the tree came when local resident Karen Cooper decided to hold a ceremony marrying the giant ficus. Conservation efforts were successful, and the recently married tree was spared, but it did not address the long-term issues that could arise from letting the ficus stand. A re-evaluation by a certified arborist suggested a trim that would reduce the top of the tree by 30% and the sides by 20%, along with the removal of some branches in the center, and that would reduce the chance of the tree being blown down due to a hurricane winds or other hazards that could be caused by the plant's current size. The tree would need to be regularly trimmed every 5 to 6 years at a cost of $6,000 a time to keep it safe from storm damage. Two new studies suggest legalizing marijuana can help fight the problem of opioid addiction and fatal overdoses. Marijuana has been shown to relieve chronic pain in adults, so advocates have proposed it as a lower-risk alternative to opioids. But some research suggests that marijuana may encourage opioid use, and so it might make the epidemic worse. The new studies don't directly assess the effect of legalizing marijuana on opioid addiction and overdose deaths. Instead, they find evidence that legalization may reduce the prescribing of opioids. Overprescribing is considered a key factor in the epidemic. One study showed that laws that let people use marijuana to treat specific medical conditions were associated with about a 6% lower rate of opioid prescribing for pain. That's about 39 fewer prescriptions per 1,000 people using Medicaid. The other study looked at opioid prescribing nationwide for people using Medicare, which covers people 65 years and older and those with disabilities. Researchers found that Medicare patients in states with marijuana dispensaries filled prescriptions for about 14% fewer daily doses of opioids than those in other states. Patients in states that only allow them to grow pot at home showed about 7% fewer doses. But the two studies have some limitations, and researchers have called for states and the federal government to pay for more studies to clarify the effect of marijuana on opioid use, saying it's needed for science to guide policy making. Spielberg has found his way back to the top of the box office with his newest action-adventure movie, Ready Player One, while Tyler Perry has scored again with acrimony. Studio estimates on Sunday say Spielberg's virtual reality-focused film earned a solid $53.2 million in its first 4 days in theaters since opening Wednesday night. Not adjusted for inflation, it's Spielberg's best opening in a decade, following Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which launched with $100.1 million in 2008. Aside from the BFG, Spielberg has lately favored smaller historical dramas instead of the big-scale blockbusters of his heyday. Audiences gave the film an A- cinema score, and reviews have been warm, sitting at a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. Those who turned out this weekend were mostly male and over the age of 25. Tyler Perry's Acrimony took second place, driven by an overwhelmingly female audience. The film grossed $17.1 million over the 3-day weekend, followed by Black Panther in third place with $11.3 million. With $650.7 million in domestic grosses, Black Panther is poised to pass Jurassic World's $652 million to become the fourth highest grossing domestic release of all time. And that was the Morning Report for today. I'm Bri Walling. The Morning Report airs Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. right here at NaplesHerald.com. And don't forget to check out our lunch break that also airs Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Thank you for watching.